morning everyone, my name is Laura Stranks and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. I'll just put my card aside for the minute and I'll just go through a couple of things with you before I start. If you don't mind listening to me for a minute or so, I'll just introduce myself. I have got a Facebook group called Laura's Craft Room Tips and Tutorials. In there you will find all the PDFs for my YouTube videos and also my live videos that I do on a Saturday morning in that group. I've also got in the live videos, all those are pinned to the featured tab in the group, so if you want to re-watch them or replay them later, you can go in there into the featured tab. If you wish to join that group, you will need to answer a couple of questions when you request to join. One is why you wish to join the group, and the other is that you agree to the rules. If you don't see the questions on that device that you're on, try going to maybe your PC or iPad if you're on your phone, or vice versa. If you're watching for the first time today, my channel is called Creative Gems. Love you to subscribe and love you to comment. If you like my cards, if you find anything incorrect on my cards, please let me know. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. That's about all I have to tell you on that side of it. Let me know if you've got any questions later on today. I do record my videos for convenience here. I do a lot of, my group has got over 20,000 members, so that keeps me busy with looking at all my posts and answering questions in there. So it is convenient for me to record my videos, but I'm still happy to answer any questions if you put them in the comments section of the video. If you do subscribe, there is a little bell in there that you can tap on, and it will notify you when my videos are up for viewing. That is all my intro that I have. I don't like to burble on too much about myself. This is the card I'm doing today. It's called a triple block easel card. Now I did watch, and I can't remember the name of the group now. It's quite a few years ago. There was one that ended up 7 by 5. This one ends up 5.5 by 4 1/4. So it will fit in a standard envelope. I've scaled everything down, all the easel section and these little blocks here. I've scaled them down a little bit just to make them in proportion with the rest of the card. The blocks on the other 7 by 5 one were a little bit bigger than those, and I thought even putting them on here, the easel section would have been way back here, which I didn't like the look of that. But I haven't had to do any die cutting on this because it's all out of one of the packs that have all the pop-out pieces on it. I'm doing another one with pop-out pieces today, so all I had to do was stamp a greeting, and the rest is all out. I'll show you the pack that I'm using today. And as usual, I have lots prepared before I start, so you don't have to go through all the main pieces. These are the measurements of the pieces you will need, and I shall go through them with you. My main card base, it's in Pretty in Pink. I think that's the name of it. Yes, Pretty in Pink. It's one of the new in colours at the moment. It measures 9 by 4 1/4, and I'll give you the scoring on that in a minute. My back easel, which is the same, it's the piece that sticks onto this here. I've adhered to the back there on the back easel. It's 5.5 by 4 1/4, and it's the same colour as your base and the same width. Coordinating colours for my mats, which are these ones here. The main back one is 5 1/4 by 4. That's that one there, and that's in soft sea foam. And then I've got 4 by 2 1/4, and there's 2 of those. One will go in here, just for a piece of decoration, and the other one is in here for your writing panel. You can swap those over if you wish. I made them both the same size, even though this mat goes a fair way down to the blocks. I did them the same size, so you can swap that over if you want to do your writing panel down here. I preferred it up there so you couldn't see it as much. No one wants to, when you're displaying a card, I prefer people not to see what I've written. You could do a panel on the back as well. There's quite a few options where to put your greeting. So they're the two mats, 4 by 2 1/4. There's 2 of those. And then my blocks, the DSP, will do that first. So the back DSP is 5 by 3 3/4. I've chosen that colour there. I'll show you the pack of paper in a minute. And then there's 3 3/4 by 2, which I've done the same pattern. That's this one down in here. This one here, I've chosen a different pattern to the top, but I'm doing the same pattern today as the top. And that is 3 3/4 by 2. That's that one there. And then the basic white is the same size, 3 3/4 by 2. That's your writing panel. My pillars, now I've assembled 2 already just to save a little bit of time, but the size of them, and there's 3 of these, they're 4 1/4 by 2 1/2, and I'll show you how, there's 3 of those, 2 I've already done. I will show you the scoring and how to assemble those in a minute. And then the DSP, 2 of them have just the DSP. I've used a different pattern here. It coordinates in that pack as well. I've done 2 of them, and you'll need another 2 for the front block. So these are the 3 blocks here. These 2 back ones here only need 1 piece on the top, and the front one, I've got a piece on the top and a piece in the front. So we're still going to do the front pillar, or the front DSP on the block. So there's 4 of those. They're 4 1/8 by 3/8 of an inch, and there's only like a 1/16 border around those. I didn't want too much border, otherwise you would end up with these really, really tiny. It would be hard to cut as well. And then I've got my cutouts, or you can do die cuts for in between your pillars. These are all cut out pieces out of the pack, and the ones I'm using today are out of the pack. I've chosen a heap of pieces, but I'm not sure where I'm putting them yet. And then some embellishments, and I've got those out as well. So you can either take a screenshot of that, but the measurements will be in the description box of this video, and then the full PDF will be in my Laura's Craft Room Tips and Tutorials group in the Files tab there. So that is all you will need. I hope I've been helpful with that. Now we shall do some scoring first. The only piece of scoring on this main piece here is the back main section. I've made it as long as I could without being overly long in this bottom section here. So I've scored it at 2 1/2, which is there. 2 1/2. Whoops, we won't cut that. I've just put new blades in my cutter. 2 1/2 and 5, because they were looking a little bit furry when you do cut. If your blade's not quite sharp and you're getting that furry edge on, lots of times I use just a little fine emery board, and I just go along the edge and take the fluff off them. I did that with a few pieces this morning, but still wasn't looking very nice, and I know I hadn't changed my blades for quite a while. We'll fold those in a minute. Now your blocks, I've already done 2, as I mentioned before, with your short side at the top, and I find this the best way to do it. You're going to score at 1/2 inch and 1 inch, and then if you're going from this side, I always go from the left if I've got a short measurement to score. You can go from this side, go 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and then go across, go 2 1/2 and 2 inches. But I preferred to go this way, 1/2 inch, 1 inch, rotate 190 and go 1/2 inch that way and 1 inch that way. That way you know your measurements on each side are going to be exactly the same. You can go straight across that way if you wish and continue. It's just 1/2 inch increments all the way across. Now, on one edge, it doesn't matter which edge you're going to do, with the short side still at the top, I'm just going to take off, and on my trimmer you can see this grey track here, the edge of it out here outside the track. I'm just going to lay that along that track like so, nice and straight, and I'm going to take off that little section. And the reason that's how much it's not even a 1/16, it's a really small smidge. The reason I'm doing that, because this one will fold under, and I'll show you this way. Now I'm going to put a cross on that piece, which I know I put my pencil away. I'll just get it out again. So I'm going to put a cross on that one so I remember which one I cut the piece off. That's all the scoring we need to do. Now these, you can fold them all into valley folds, and I'll burnish those. We'll do this little bit first. 1/2 inch all the way across. And that one there. Now, the reason we cut that little piece off, this end side here, to make the pillar, it's going to fold in under that other end one. And you want it just a smidge less, so that if I left that piece on, it would probably be right down in there, and it could catch and not sit nice and square. So I've taken a smidge off just so it will fit nicely. And you need to mark that so that you know which one's going to get tucked under and which one you're going to put the glue on. So before I glue it, I'm going to rub out the cross and just keep my finger on that piece. Then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to put liquid glue down that strip where I've had the cross. So it's going on the inside. Well, the glue is on the outside of when you've folded it all. And the glue is going on that outside panel. Then if you fold it on the second score line in from the glued piece where the glue is, fold it two score lines in, lay it flat, and just bring this panel across on top. That way you know it's going to be nice and square. So that's your pillar. I'll just give it a second to take a little bit. Now I can see I've got, it's probably where I've cut a little bit crooked. I shall get my other scissors, and I'm just going to trim that. It probably won't see it, but I'm a bit of a perfectionist. We'll just go a little bit off that one as well. So that's your pillar, like so. Now just be aware where your join is at the back there, because we want that face down and face to the back. So when I lay it like this, I'll get my other two little strips. Now this is the front pillar out of the three. Here's the other two that we've done previous. These little strips, one will go on the top and the other will go in the front. And we know that's the front pillar out of the three. I'll just get my silicone mat so I'm not getting glue everywhere. So I can put a strip of DSP on the top of that one. And use my tweezers so I'm not getting glue all over my fingers. So one on the top, and there's just that 1/16. I've got too much glue. It's a fairly new pot of glue, so it's I'll just give that a wipe. Here we don't want glue on our fingers, and we're wiping it off. I shall just get a wipe out to wipe my fingers. Nothing worse than glue on your fingers when you're trying to work. I'll just give that a quick little wipe. So that's the top section, and I'll double check where there's my back section, which I can see. I've obviously laid it down crooked. I'll get my scissors and just trim that little bit. It's still going to sit correctly. Just got a tiny smidge of hangover piece there. Now the join is there, so that's going to the back and to the bottom. So this will be the front. So I can put some more glue on that little piece. This card is not difficult to assemble at all. I think the longest part it took me was to choose all the decorations that I wanted to use on it. I haven't shown you I'll show you the pack in a minute that I'm using. So that's those two little strips. That piece will go on the front, like so. I'll show you now, and I pop out, I'll get that out of the road. It's this paper. Beautiful, beautiful paper. It's called Wildflower Birthday. It's a 12 by 12 pack. Lots of pretty papers. It's a specialty paper. It's got gold foil accents in it. That makes it specialty. And it's got lots of pretty patterns. That's one of the ones I'm using this morning. And it's got nice soft sea foam, the colours. Gold accents on that one. That's the one I'm using as well. And then we have these, which I'm glad they put that colour and pattern on the back because I wasn't too fussed on that. You've got all these little, these aren't pop-out pieces. You have to cut these, but they're all suitable for tags and labels and all sorts of stuff. So that comes with it. And then the two sheets that I did pull out, when there's pop-out pieces, it's really hard to get the whole thing back in the pack. So I popped them out and I put them in a little case like this, and they just go in on top of where the paper sits in my cupboard. So I've got all those little, so it took me a while to choose what I wanted to use this morning. I thought of doing this spannery thing across the top, but it was a bit long and it didn't sit right, so I didn't use that one. But that's the pieces that pop out. My greeting, I have used the Stylish Shapes frames, those little bannery frames, but I did extend them. I don't know if anyone knows how to extend a greeting. I'll show you in a minute when we get to that, if I remember. I'm using these blooming pearls. I'm going to put some little gold ones on that because there's gold accents on my paper. And the little greeting I've used, just this little tiny happy birthday here. And I've used the banners around it. So that's that. We'll get back to the card now. I love that paper. Now, this is your easel section. So for it to sit, you're going to fold that down to a valley and this one down to a valley, nice and straight on the edges. So it will sit like that. And then this back panel will sit up on here. And your 3 blocks will sit at the front. So I'm going to do the matting on this first, which is that one and that one, so we can adhere those down. Let's see if we can get it. I've chosen just a neutral pattern because I want to accent the greeting and the little pop-out pieces that I'm putting on it. The previous card, I put that over the top and then I thought it was a bit busy around the back of it, but it's not too bad. I don't mind it. But if you find some sort of neutral pattern behind, if you want to busy up the front of it, I would probably do that. Move that up a fraction. I don't like this new pot of glue. It gets glue everywhere. Wipe my fingers again. So that's on there, and then that one goes on there. These two colours are so pretty together. The bottle of glue is getting better. The more I use it, the less it pops out. And that one on there. We'll decorate those in a minute. I'll put it on the cards when I'm finished decorating, because it's easier to decorate while it's on the card to see where you want your pieces to sit. Now this piece here is where that's going to sit, so I'll do that in a minute. I'll leave that till last. This piece up here is the under piece. Where am I? No, this piece here is where I'm putting my writing panel. No, I've got it up here. And we'll work this out. No, I'll leave that writing panel. It does go there, because that goes down, and then there's another panel in there. I'll leave the other one till last. I'll put the writing panel on first. I'm just making sure I put it in the right spot. I want it in the same spot that I had the last one. So we'll pop that on the mat. Like so. And when you fold it inwards, I can see in here that it's going up that back section there, so it will go in here. And pop that one in. I'll leave the other one the lower one till after I've put the blocks on, because you'll see what space you've got to make sure the blocks fit in there. So that one's going in there. Like so. I didn't put any decoration on that. The panel's quite small enough already for your writing. Now we'll do these blocks next. So I know my front one is the one with the two pieces of DSP, and they're going to sit here. So, and I've got the cut piece to the back and to the bottom. So that is the piece that I'm going to glue, and I'm just going to put a little cross on that, so if I turn it around anywhere I'm not going to get lost where it is, but we're going to do one at a time anyway. So I'll put some glue along that, and you can flatten these down when you glue them to make sure they're nice and even. It makes it easier to put them on. So I've got my DSP facing the front and the top, and it's going right level with the front of that card. Now if you push that down, you can get that nice and even down the front there. So it's level along here and a level along the sides. It's not hanging out, and we shall still got a bit of sticky on my fingers. I might wipe them again. So that one goes on the front. Now we're not going to glue them together because you want in between this way, because you want the pieces to slot in, and we can glue that after we've got them in where we want them. So that one will sit back up like so, and these, it doesn't matter which one, got a little bit of mark there, it's better. My join is there at the back, so I want it down the bottom and facing backwards, and that's going to sit there, and I'm just going to glue the bottom, which is that piece there. Doesn't matter if you leave that little cross on, you're not going to see it. Put some glue along that edge. Push it right in, but up against that, don't leave any gap. And even on the sides, you can push both of these down, or you can push just one down. So it's right butt up against that there. You don't need any little gap because there's plenty of gap in here to fit your, unless you want something thick to go in there, just the normal space in there will fit the decorations that I'm putting in. So we can sit that one back up, nice and even on the top, and then the last one sitting that way, so I'll flip it over. I've got my join to the back. Actually, this one I'll put the join inwards that way, because you can see a little bit at the back here. So I'm going to put that cut line there in facing inwards, so you won't see it at all. So it will go, it'll still, the glue still goes on the same spot, just flip it around. So it's going on there. I don't know if I did that with the last one, but it makes sense. So you don't see any of your cut lines. That one will sit in there, right butt up against the previous one. I'll just hold it there for a minute before we flatten it down, because it needs a minute to take. And they're all nice and even. Make sure you cut them correctly. I'll just push that one in a little bit. It's not quite in close. Like so. If you look along the sides, you can see here how they're nice and butted up against each other. You can't get, well, I couldn't get my bone folder in there. You could get that in there, I suppose, but it'll hold itself easily enough. That's just one of my old pick tools that I love. I've got 2 of those and I won't part with them. So that's the 3 little blocks. Now we can put this piece in here, which I'm doing the same pattern as before. Just kept it quite plain so that all my little pop-out pieces are going to be the focal point of this. Whoops, that goes on there. Whoops. This glue is just too thick for me, for my liking. I'll wipe a little bit of that off. I should have stuck with my old glue for a little while. There was still a little bit in it. Sometimes it's a bit hard when you're doing a video if you run out of glue and you're sitting there shaking away. Always have a wipe handy. So that piece can go in, and then it's just a matter of decorating. That's the main. Oh, we can put the easel on the top as well. So this, it'll go, excuse my head, I'm going to put the 1/8 inch border up here, but it's not so much matters down here. I just wanted it the same size as this piece, but you've got a little gap down there, not much. You could make this not as wide, but I thought rather than fluff around with two different measurements, it was just as easy. And you're not going to see it down in there anyway, because by the time I'm just going to burnish that again. Now for your easel piece, which we can put in as well, it's going to sit up on here. So all you need to do is put your adhesive on this top panel here. Make sure it's on the outside. Put a bit less glue. Keep it in from the edges a bit. And then if you put this on, it's easier to do it when it's flat. Make it level with the bottom there and up the sides, and adhere it down. Now I did make it, you'll see here, oh no, that's fine. I did make it a little bit longer. I had this one shorter, but I preferred it a bit longer. So you've got more of a panel at the top. I was trying to get it so that it was half the length, or double the length of that, but I made it, I think, another inch higher. So that's the main base of the card. Now for the decorations, which I've got in this bag. And I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to put them, but sort of have an idea. I'll show you what I've done with this couple of pieces. I know I'm putting my cake here, and I'm going to pop it down fairly low because I've got this greeting with a banner to go up the top, and these down here will be quite low. I might put the front pieces on first. So I've got 3 little cupcakes here in different colours. They're going to pop in there. Actually, oh no, I've got 2 of these balloons on streamery things. I have backed them with some window sheet, or acetate as we call it, only because they're quite flimsy, and I thought they would sit, you can't see the window sheet once you put it together. It's a stabilizer, so that will sit in there, and it's up higher than the cupcakes. I might even cut a little bit off the bottom of those. Won't matter that you don't see the twirly bit at the bottom. I was going to put those at the sides. Then I've got some flowers, and I wasn't sure, actually, that's where I was putting my cake, I think. I'm not sure now. I've got some flowers, which I might put my greeting. So you change your mind what you want to do. I might put my greeting down a little bit. No, it needs to be up so you can see it above the cake. I'll put that up there. Some flowers there with some gold leaves. I think that's all I had. That will be fine. I was going to put the cake back here and the flowers down here. I'm not sure now. No, you can't see the flowers down there. We shall put the cake in the thing. I'll put these 3 cupcakes because I know they're going in. I'm just going to put a little bit on the bottom first of each one. Pull them back out. I might cut a little bit off the balloons, even though it doesn't probably matter now. I'm not going to put those down really, really low because I want to see the papery part of the cupcake. and another piece on there. It doesn't matter if you do it back or front. I'm going to put a bit of extra glue in here as well. Just center those a little bit. I got 3 different coloured ones, so it's not looking as if I want all pink. So that's those 3. Now you could, I'm going to do it this way, just open that up and put some glue in there. And then close it up and hold it for a sec without putting so much glue, Laura. And join that together so that they will sit nicely. Right, now the balloons, I don't know whether to cut some off them or not. I think they, well, it won't matter because I'm not putting my cake up there, so it's not going to cover the cake. So I might put them in there like so. I'll put my cake in the middle here. You could put that up with some acetate as well. I don't think it needs it. I shall just glue the bottom. Actually, I probably don't need that much glue. I might put the glue, and if we work quickly, I'm going to put the glue in the slot first, which would be easier. Then you know you're not going to have it above your little pieces that's going to stick your card down. So I can pop that in there, in the middle, and the balloon, I won't cut any off them, in there, and my other balloon, which is stuck to the acetate, in there. Make sure you don't go outside the perimeter of your card. I might later on, I'll get a piece of acetate and put at the back of that. I can do that after, only because it needs something a little bit more stable to hold it up. And I'm just holding that together so that they all stay together. That looks quite pretty. And then I'll put these 2 together. And I'm going to put them flat only because it's got enough bulk in it now when you close. I'll show you how it closes shut to fit in the envelope. But it's got enough bulk without putting things up on the dimensionals. So that's there. With this here, when you extend, I'm not sure if people, if you go into YouTube and type in how to extend a die, what I do, and you've got to get, you can see I've just missed the section there, but it's not too bad. You've got to make sure you get it straight when you do the second part of it. You put your die on like you normally would on there, and then your top plate, your acrylic plate, you straddle it back here. Don't cut right to the end, otherwise you're going to cut it normal. So straddle it back there, run it through, and then take the die off, turn this whole thing around and do the same. Put it out as far as you want to extend it that way. And because this under here is already cut, you only need your top plate back here. So long as you catch up where you've finished your cut before, and you need to line it up this way so your pieces line up. Otherwise, I've done it a couple of times where it's not been straight, so I've had to throw it because it looks terrible. But just flip the whole thing around and do the same on the other end. But go onto YouTube, you'll find lots of videos on how to extend a die. And then I did the same with the back one. And you don't have to line up your greeting on the back one. It's just a piece of cardstock. Just work out how much extension you want it to be the same as what you did for the front piece, if that makes sense. I do it a lot when I like a die, but it's not quite long enough to fit the greeting that I'm going to use. There was a wider one, a bigger set of this, the 2, but it was too big across the top, took up too much space. So that's the dies. Then I do like these flowers better, and I can put a gold. I might put those 2 there, and I can put one of those in the middle. I've got some gold leaves here. I might put them out on the inside as well, just to bring in a little bit of gold. I'll put that on there. As you can see, the decoration Takes as long as assembling the card. You could cut all your pieces or die pieces for these. Doesn't matter what you use. These are going flat as well. And I'll use this one here. I'm putting the leaves facing inward so they're not going to poke out to the side. We'll go this way on this one. I'm hoping this gold sticks okay with the glue. Sometimes the gold paper doesn't stick real well. I'll put it in a different spot to the other one. So we'll put those there. We can straddle them up here a little bit. And I'm just putting them flat. I do love all the little pieces in this set. Sometimes I don't want birthday cakes and stuff on it, so I've used a lot of the flowers out of the set. I haven't stuck the leaves down, that's fine. Gives it a little bit of lift without being too thick. On stage, I'm going to On Stage. It's in Brisbane this year, so it's only a week or so away, which I'm really looking forward to. Make sure I'm not covering my greeting with that one. I don't think I'll put another one in there. That'll be fine. I don't want to over busy it, but I will put another piece of acetate at the back of that. It doesn't have to go right down in. I'll just do it to the base of the cake. So that is that. I'll leave those flowers aside and put the lid on my glue, and we'll put some embellishments on. I can put some on the flowers, and I might put little ones on the cakes down the bottom. Doesn't want to open up. Don't know how I got that out without. Pick tool. I'll use 2 of the bigger ones on these flowers. I've bought a few packs of these blooming pearls, and I seem to use all the gold ones first for some reason, probably because I like gold. I'll put a couple up here on the greeting as well. Move that little leaf out of the road. Move that up a little bit. Doesn't want to sit straight. It's in my... Keep getting that hooked to me. And I'll do just 3 little ones down here on the cakes. I'll show you how this lays flat. So that can go like that. Lift that up. This will all lay down flat, and this will come over the top like so. Oops, and I knew that is why I had to cut that base off, because that's up above that. I forgot about that. I will fix that. I shall pull that out, even though I've glued it. It's not glued. I'm going to fix it now because I forgot. I can leave that bit in there. I forgot it has to go down. Excuse me while I show you how I'm going to fix it. I'm going to cut the base off this, because when you close that shut, you don't want it, and that leaf doesn't need the stand on it. That needs to go down, and that needs to be below that that crease. So I'll just put a bit of glue. Lucky I got that back out, and it won't need the acetate on the back. Excuse me for stuffing around with that. So I'm popping that right down in there. You can still see that it's a cake. Move it over a fraction. Just wiggling it around a bit. So when you lay that flat, and I will, I can take a fraction off the top of that acetate. It'll still fit in there. It's only the acetate that's sticking up. So that needs to be flat, and that so that this can fold shut. Which it is correct now. That's fine. Everything seems to be buckling for some reason. Only because I'm probably not closing it. I need to take a top off those. I'll just take that off and see. I might have to pull them out. I've just about fixed it. That's better. I shall fix that. I'll take those acetate out and take the bottom off a bit. I forgot to make sure that it gets below this score line, anything you put in here, but we'll fix that in a minute. I shall put my little gold embellishments on here. I'm just going to put one on each of those, and I can feel glue there, so I'm going to rub my embossing buddy over it. I think I'll go back to my old glue because I can feel glue here, and I've got my glue rubber as well. I can rub that out. So that is my card after a bit of maintenance on it. It looks not too bad. Plus you can see up in here now. That is it from me. I hope you enjoyed that. I shall fix a couple of little hiccups there. You don't need to see me fix it, but just be aware that I think you could go this way. You could fold it that way, but then that's going to be too long that way because you only want this length here, so it won't fold the other way. It has to fold back inwards that way. But I shall fix that for you. Not a problem. And that's my two cards out of that same design. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope to see you all again next Monday at 9 AM. Have a lovely week. Bye for now.